Hey everybody, this is Perch, and we're going to talk about Batman: The Long Halloween. But more importantly, we're going to talk about, can you go home again? Can you actually have comics that were popular and then you dip back in? People label them very quickly as nostalgia. I don't think it has to be that. And I do think with where the comic industry currently is at, there's probably a lot of ground that can be covered, probably a lot of value that can be created by dipping into that stuff. But it's an interesting one because, like a lot of topics, this is one that people give an immediate kind of knee-jerk reaction to without really thinking it through, and then they defend that knee-jerk reaction. Just as another aside, if you're a YouTube creator, I mean, I can't always get over how ass the whole system is. I mean, just it. So, for example, in my dashboard, for example, I see comments. And the comments come in and I see them. And then I do have the filter, spam toggled on. And every time I turn that off, I get just sex bots all over the channels. It turns into a mess. So I turn that on. That seems to capture a bunch of comments, although less lately. And then if you post a comment and it doesn't appear, it could be that, could be that it got trapped into this held comments review. I did a whole video showing that, or it could just be gone. I've had people get just accuse me of being you're deleting comments, you're putting up. I rarely delete comments. Rarely. Like you're being very disingenuous if you're like, I don't know why there's a guy who came in that just started shouting the N-word at a bunch of people over and over and over and talking about lynching and other things. I deleted that comment. That's kind of where you have to go. I posted the video up a bit ago saying I'm not going to, be forced to say the words about woke agenda. And there's a lot of people who are calling me a simp, an idiot, stupid, a liar, all kinds of shit. It's all still up there. Like, I didn't delete any of that. If you had your comment purged, I don't know what to tell you. I even went into the little comments held for review and approved a bunch of those that were calling me terrible things because fuck it. But what showed up this morning in the comments is there's comments and there's mentions. When I click over mentions, this is a place where you're mentioned on other channels. Now, this has not worked properly for me in the entire time I've run this channel. Magically today, it does. Here's now suddenly I'm seeing all these comments from like years ago. And what's funny is I see a couple people slowly lose their minds over mentioning me in a comment, and then I don't say anything, and then weeks go by apparently, and I continue not to mention anything. It's not this guy, but here's the channel called The Fourth Age, and The Fourth Age mentioned me in a description. Fine, and then but yeah, I didn't see any of this. How am I supposed to see it? It's not tied in anywhere. But now suddenly here it is from 3 months ago, and then I see some people like, why isn't Perch in here talking about this stuff? It's like, fucking YouTube. Anyway, just this is a constant freaking annoyance to me. You're not a tech company if your stuff works this poorly. I will go through and I will filter out the ads, and then I'll show back up and they're in there again. I mean, it's just this is a shit show. And what irks me the most about it is when people complain to me that I'm doing something dodgy here, and I have nothing to do with it. I have to sit here carrying YouTube's stupid water. All right, I'll leave it alone for now. Sorry, that went a lot longer than I thought. Here is Batman: The Long Halloween. So this is returning this year for a Batman Long Halloween special. It comes out tomorrow. Well, I guess I'm recording this. I don't know. It came out October 26th. And hopefully you are enjoying this. It's Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, who did the original The Long Halloween, and they're reuniting to do this one shot. And it's been since a quarter century from their initial team up. So, and they talk about, the way they got together was over kind of their friendship and the desire to have a creative partnership. And that's always the best reasons. So this was the Batman: The Long Halloween was a very well-loved series. I like it. I actually think Batman: The Long Halloween is a better story than what Jeff Loeb did with Jim Lee. A lot of people focus on Hush because, of course, it had Jim Lee on the art. Looked beautiful in a lot of cases. But I think the better story was The Long Halloween. If you haven't read that, you owe yourself to. I've met a lot of people lately who hate Tim Sale, just think that Tim Sale's art is just complete trash, and I couldn't disagree more. I like Tim Sale. I think he does a good job. It's minimalist. If you're comparing Tim Sale to Jim Lee, obviously there's two radically different art styles, but I think each one definitely has their place, and I think Tim Sale's a master at what he does. So no issues with that. But I love the fact that we're coming back to the series. Now, the other criticism that's shown up for this comic is people are saying, well, this is giving in to the toxic fans who are always looking for nostalgia rather than the properties moving forward. And that's the criticism I just can't get. I don't understand it. I don't understand it emotionally. It feels childish. It feels petty. It feels like people, it's always even weirder to me, by the way, when creators parrot that. And there have been some lately who have. It was weird to see, Gleb taking the piss out of John Byrne about how awful his art is, while simultaneously DC is selling it and selling it a lot up on Amazon with the Man of Steel trades. It's just a weird. I don't know why people do this. I don't know what the point is. I don't get where they're coming from, other than it's pure jealousy that somebody likes something from the past. But given that everybody in comics is standing on the shoulders of somebody who came before them, that's a dumb thing to be jealous about. Overall, right now in comics, and I've mentioned this before, there's this mantra, this big push of, hey, we got to move forward. Hey, we need to change all the characters. Hey, why don't we just kill off all the old legacy characters, put new ones in there that more match the current society and what we're currently thinking about. I've heard recently that there are more efforts, or at least more desires, to go back to things like, Batman Year One, and to actually reword it. I did a little parody panel where I reworded one panel from the original Frank Miller Batman Year One, and people are like, "This isn't real, is it?" No, it was a parody, but it is really being talked about. This idea of, hey, there's some comics out there that are just cringy is the word they use, or problematic is the other word they use, and we need to get in there and we can just re-letter them. We have all the art, and then they'll be better. And I think that, again, I've made my position on that clear. I think that's absolutely a terrible idea. I do think you leave things as they are, you move forward. But at the same time, I also think comics, being what it is, has a huge opportunity to reunite some of these creators. I mean, X-Men Legends is not really being promoted by Marvel. It's kind of tucked away in the side. Obviously, they don't want to promote the past, and they have all these new things that they're trying to do with Krakoa. But at the same time, you could give Walt and Wheezy a 12-issue series that builds on work they did in the past. And it's a good idea. And I don't think that's looking backward. I don't think that's giving in to toxic fans or nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. I think it's just smart business. Comic books are not just they don't have to exist just on one moving forward timeline. You can do other things. I've heard the argument, and I agree, and I understand that it's not always so simple. But that's more or less where you get value. You get value out of mining some of this old stuff. And if you're purposefully ignoring it because you don't want to go backward, you don't want to do nostalgia, you don't want to, you're leaving value on the table that some of the creators in the past carried out. Yes, if Todd McFarlane could be lured back to Marvel to do a 4-issue Spider-Man series, they absolutely should do that. I mean, they would make everybody a lot of money, probably Todd as well. Be very smart to do. Yes, it might hurt the feelings of some of the current creators who are seeing this legend come in and work on the comic, and it's going to sell better than what they're currently doing, and that might be hard mentally to take, but it's good for the company. It's good for the customers. It's good for the fans. It's good for the retailers. If you have something that was very successful, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do a sequel to it. In this Long Halloween, you're seeing some hints that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale would like to do more. Now, they don't specifically talk about, doing more necessarily with the Long Halloween, but maybe tapping into Batman Dark Victory and doing something there. Maybe doing something with Deadman. They've got a lot of ideas of stuff they'd like to do. If you're DC, you jump all over that. You go, we take these two creators that created this beloved thing that we continue to make lots of money off of and trade, and we can have them make some new material. And that's probably not going to appeal to the fan who just showed up and started reading comics in 2020 and has a very different way of looking at it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it's absolutely going to capture this market that frankly, we've been underserving. Too many people in comics are waving their hands at the that elderly aging market that, and that's first of all, that's a dumb take on all fronts. That's a dumb take. That market is willing to spend money from you. Take their money. A good way to take their money most successfully is give them something that, is what they're looking for. You don't have to give them exactly, and that's the exaggeration. As a sidebar, why do both sides? Why do everybody always have a blind spot to their exaggeration, but they can quickly identify it when somebody else's? In this case, when somebody says we're going to give the fans what they're looking for, no, they're not going to go to Twitter and be like, hey, we're going to schedule a time where all of the fans can come in and then give us a bunch of notes, and then we're going to create a story based on those notes. Nobody's saying that. Nobody wants that. They just want it to tonally feel like something that people enjoyed once upon a time. That's not a dirty thing. We should do more of it. We should stop hiding from it. It's good. Lean into it. That's the right answer. Anyway, Batman Long Halloween is coming. Are you buying it? Would you like to see more? And would you like to see more of a lot of things? What are those things? We see Bill Willingham coming back in and doing some stuff with Fables. I think that's smart. Honestly, I think one of the healthiest things the comic industry could do for itself is to look at their line and say, all right, of the 70, 80 comics that we're shipping out, we're going to have 20 of them be new and experimental. We're going to have 20 of them be, bread and butter, keep mining that Batman. We're going to have 20 being nostalgic, kind of backward looking, trying to really capture that fan base that was so huge in the 80s and 90s. And we're going to have 20 that will just be kind of the crazy attempts to grab a new audience. This, we're going to do this one, or we're going to chase the BL market. And we're going to do this one, we're going to chase this, whatever, the digital market. Divide up your line, push both, have really clear marketing and advertising so people know what to get. And then maybe some of this will calm down, or at least people start to sound a little bit more ridiculous. If 1/4, which is not that much, but it actually is a lot, 20 books, it's still a lot of books. But if 1/4 of your line is intended to service and give classic comic fans what they're looking for, that they're probably going to be happy. And some of those fans are going to have a hard time standing there and going, the comic publisher has been taken over by woke crap. They're going to have a harder time saying that if you are delivering to them a healthy complement of titles. People are not looking, I should say, I don't think anybody's really looking for 60 plus titles that all, are all for them. Maybe some people are, but those people are jerks. If you just delivered 2 copies of a comic a week, which would be 8 in a month, which would be, an eighth of what DC's putting out. If you delivered 2 comics a week that really appealed to that audience that loved DC in the 80s and the 90s, they're probably going to buy it. What does that matter? I mean, wouldn't that be smart business? You don't have to go 100%. You can actually diversify your offerings. Would make some sense. Anyway, are you interested? Are you looking forward to Long Halloween? Thanks for listening.